Hey guys, it's been a while since I posted an update about my Opiola tank, and that's because a couple of weeks ago I broke the light again. And it's not the light's fault, it was totally my fault. I was careless and I filled it up too much so that the lights were submerged underwater, and so was a cable, so it burned out the light. And so I ordered a new set of lights and they just came in today, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that. In the meantime, I had been using the stock light that comes with the Fluval Chi, and that's fine, but I just don't like the way that it looks. It's just really dim and it doesn't really light up the tank well. So today I'm going to show you guys how to install custom lights on your Fluval Chi if you were planning on getting one, or if you already have one and just don't like the way the stock light looks. So the first thing you're going to need is the Fluval lid, which is just a thin plastic square that you can attach the lights onto. Now, because it's so thin, you want to be really careful with it, and of course I wasn't careful with it and I cracked it. But because it's in the back, I just taped it up with a piece of tape and it's good as new. The next thing you'll need are, of course, the lights, and these are the RGB lights I got on Amazon for about 13 bucks. And you can probably use other types of, LEDs or LED strips. I just like the way these look. The only thing about these is that the blue and the green lights are switched, like their cables are switched. So when you press the remote button for the blue light, it actually turns on the green light. And then when you press the button for the green light, it turns on the blue light. But I already know this, so I don't really care. It's just one button, and as long as the lights still work, I'm okay with that. So I totally deleted the video of the AC adapter, but you are going to need one of these to plug the light into the wall, and it also comes with a remote control that you can use to adjust the lighting. The next thing you'll need are these adapter cables. These are 4-pin adapter cables, and these allow you to plug the lights into the controller, which plug into the AC adapter, which plug into the wall. So without these adapters, you will not be able to plug your lights into the wall. So these wires connect to the lights themselves, and then the other end connects to the controller, which looks exactly the same. So you'll need a male 4-pin connector, which comes with the bag, to connect the two together. You're going to need some outdoor mounting tape as well, and this is just the Scotch 3M mounting tape that holds up to 20 pounds. And I have used the 10-pound ones before, but they don't hold the lights onto the lid as well as the 20-pound ones, so get the 20-pound ones. Alright, so you're also going to need a wire cutter to make sure that enough wire is exposed to connect the wires together. And lastly, if you have it, a soldering iron and soldering wire. Now you don't have to use these because I've gotten away with just twisting the wires together. As long as the wires are touching, they will complete the circuit and your lights will turn on. So this is just to ensure that the wires stay together, but you can just twist the wires together and tape them like that, and that will still work. Alrighty, so this light comes as one large strip, and so you want to just separate each individual light by cutting where they attach to each other. And that's it. This is a set of 10 lights, and I like to use all 10. So if you want to use less, you can just cut, at the wires where you want them to separate. So if I was just going to use 2, 4, 6, I would just cut right here and then just use these 6 lights, and then I can save these other 4 lights for later, just in case like a light goes out, or if you want to replace the lights in general. Okay, so now your lights are ready to be attached to the 4-pin connector, and the 4-pin connector comes with 4 wires, a red, black, blue, and green. And you'll just match these to the same exact wires on the light. And I know I said before that the blue and the green are switched, but if you switch the wires and connect the blue with the green wire and the green with the blue wire, it does not turn on. So just connect it to the same colored wire. Now to do that, I like a little bit more room to work. This is like maybe a 1/2 inch of wire that's exposed. So I'm going to use the wire cutter to cut away some of the casing and expose some more wires so that I can work with that. Okay, so now I have about 1 inch of wire exposed, and I'm going to do the same to the individual wires. So I'm going to cut off the casing so that there is about a 1/2 inch of wire exposed. Alright, so this is what it should look like when you're done. I did a little bit more than 1/2 inch, but it doesn't matter as long as you can get the wires tied together. Okay, so now that you have your 4-pin connector cut properly, pick a side, any side. Usually I go with this side, but either way, if you switch it around, it's going to be the same. So you're going to do the exact same to the wires on this side and cut about a 1/2 inch off of each. Alright, so I made the opening of the wire cutter too narrow and I accidentally cut off some of the wire, but that's okay because as long as some of the wire is left, you can still complete the circuit. So an easy way to not do that is to adjust your wire cutter to whatever setting you think the wire width is, and then just stick the wire through. And if the wire goes through and it's pretty snug, then that's the correct setting you're going to want to use. Now that you have the wires of each connector cut to the length that you want, you're going to connect them together. So what you want to do is just twist the 2 wires together. So this is pretty much how your wires should look. Just twist it together like that so that the wires are touching and connected. And you're going to do the same to the other 4 wires. And remember, you want to connect the same colors together. So this is what it should look like when you're done. Each one is connected separately. And I know it looks like they're twisted together, but they're not. And what you want to do now is you can leave it like this or you can solder it. I tend to solder it just to have that extra security, but I have done this before without soldering it and the light still works fine. Okay, so I've separated the green one from the rest so that I can solder it more easily. I have my soldering iron on. Oh my god, I always get really scared when I use this because it gets really hot. But pretty much you just touch it with the soldering wire and it'll melt onto the wires and permanently attach them together. Alright, so this is what it looks like once it is soldered together. I just have the green one soldered right now, but this just ensures that they'll stay together for a really long time. Okay, so you want to cut a piece about 1 inch long. And then wrap it around one of the wires. And it should look just like that. Okay, so it should look like this when you're done. The next thing you want to do is completely wrap it in electrical tape, starting from up here all the way to down here, just to ensure that it is completely safe and going to be moisture free, because obviously you're going to have this right by your tank, so you don't want any water to get inside. But before you do that, before you completely tape it up and seal it, you want to plug it in to make sure that the lights turn on properly. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a lot of time taking off tape. So what you want to do is take the 4-pin connector, this little 4-pin connector that comes with your bag, and insert it halfway into the controller connector. So it does go in all the way, but you want to leave some room so that the other side can connect to it too. So just insert it halfway, because as long as the wires are touching, you're good. And if it's halfway in, it's touching. So then you're going to connect the other end, and you'll notice that there is a little arrow on this. Do you see that? There it goes. So you want to connect that arrow with the arrow on this side. And so that means I gotta switch this around and then plug it in. All right, it's alive. Okay, so now I know that my lights work. And what I'm gonna do now is seal everything together with tape. So you're gonna start off, I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. And I'm not gonna cut off an entire piece. I'm just gonna start with the entire roll of tape and start from kind of about 2 inches from, well, 1 inch to 2 inches from the area where you soldered everything. So you wanna make sure that it rolls on really tight first to make sure that there aren't any air bubbles or anything, and then you can just wrap it all the way around until you get to the bottom. Now that I'm done wrapping the entire length, I am gonna go ahead and snip it. Alright, and you had this plugged in halfway in when you had tried it out earlier. So what you're gonna do is plug it back in. Now use the remote to turn it off. And then you're gonna seal this with tape. Usually for this, I cut off about, let's see, about 2 inches. 1.5 inches. And then I start off here and just seal it completely around so that it doesn't come apart. And this is what the controller should look like after you seal it so that it doesn't come apart. So there is one thing left that you want to seal, and it's the other end of the LED lights. And so what I usually do is I will straighten it out, cut off a piece of tape, so you're going to straighten it out like this, as straight as you can. And then I just put the tape halfway on top, fold it over, and then fold it over this way. And then I'll use a longer piece of tape to tape around that. And you want to do this as tightly as possible. And that's it. That will protect the other end from getting soaked in the water or anything like that. And I usually want to keep this end long because I hang this part outside of the tank so that it doesn't get submerged in the water. So before you even think about sticking the lights on the tank, you want to lay the lights out so that you know where you want them to go. And the reason for doing this is because if you don't lay them out, you're going to find that there's too little space or there's too much space between the lights and it's not even. So you want to do this first. Now I always start with the back part of the light first, and I situate it right up here where the opening is. So this is the back of the tank right here. And this little wire is going to hang out the back so that it doesn't go into the water. And usually what I do is I have one light on each side here, 3 lights going down here, and then 1 light here and 1 light here. So that makes a total of the 10 lights. I've already done this plenty of times before, so I already know where these are going to go. But right now, what you want to do is you're going to scrape off this styrofoam backing. This is the little sticky backing that it comes with, and it does not hold at all. And I have tried putting tape on the back, but the styrofoam itself is the part that comes off. So even if you have tape on the back of here, the whole thing will fall apart. So the best thing to do is just to scrape that off entirely and then put new tape on there. And for this, I just use scissors, my nifty little pink scissors. Open it up like this, and then scrape it off. Just like that. Whoops. Can't even see me scraping it off. There you go. So I just try to get as much off as I possibly can. And you're going to do this for all of them. You see how easy that came off? Because once this thing gets wet or like has moisture on it, it just disintegrates. So you want to scrape as much of this off as you can. Alright, this is how it should look after you scrape all the tape off. Now that you have taken off all of the old tape, I mean, look at this. Look how thin that is. That was not going to keep the light stuck to the lid. But anyway, so now you're going to use your outdoor mounting tape and tape it to the back of the light. Now you don't want to be stingy with this. This is very important. You know how a lot of people are like, less is more? No, less is not more. Less is less. So you want to start on the very edge of the light right over here. And you kind of want to make it so that it's still centered. Let me see if I can get it closer. So you want to make sure that it's still kind of in the center, but you want it all the way to the edge. Just like that. Got some hair there. And then just press it in. Just press it in. Alright. So now you can see that there's a little bit hanging off on each side like that. You're going to cut this right on that edge right there. Okay? You want to be careful, don't cut the wire. So what I just do is I just have it back here, just like that, and snip. And then I'm just going to keep pressing just to make sure that it's stuck on there. And then this is really easy. You can snip off those extra little bits right there. So I'm just gonna do this with my scissors. And then you can just pull that out easily. And do the same thing on all 4 sides. Okay. So this is how it should look when you're done. Okay. Okay. So this is what it should look like after you are done cutting up the strips. And now you're going to attach them to the tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the first one, which is the one at the end, right here. Alright, so I'm going to attach the first one at the end on the back. So you're just going to peel off the little red tape. And then stick it right on there. And press it down really well so that you know what's going to stick. And especially the ends, because that's where they're going to stick the most. So this is what it looks like from the top view. If you take a look, the outer edges are completely sealed onto the lid, whereas the inner center isn't really attached. So as long as you have this outer edge sealed really well, it will not come off. Okay, now that you have the initial one laid on there pretty tight, what you're going to do is you're going to use a twisting motion to twist the other one. And the reason you want to do this is when you twist it, it actually lays it flat on the lid. If you don't twist it, it comes up, and then when you have this flipped over, it's in the water, so you don't want that. These are waterproof, but it doesn't mean they can be submerged. It just means that they can handle a little bit of water if splashed on. So just twist it until it lays flat on the lid, and then tape it on. And this is what it looks like when you're done. So this is the tank with the stock light. It's not very bright. I mean, it does light up the tank, but I just don't like that it's just like one little light in the center. And this is what it looks like with the LED lights installed. So I can change it to red, blue, green, or white, or different shades of that. So I can do like a pinkish hue, or a light blue, light green. But yeah, I usually just keep it on white. So one thing you want to really make sure is that you don't top off the tank too high. You want it about a ½ inch below the light so that they aren't submerged under the water. And last time I had filled it up like to the brim, so that was my bad. But as long as you keep it pretty low, or lower than the light, it should be fine. Honestly, this setup can be done with any tank that has a lid. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, please leave a comment below or message me directly. I usually get back to all messages within like a day or two. And yeah, thanks for watching.